Hello, good evening, and a very warm welcome to Rangers Radio.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Rangers Radio. Joining myself, Robert, on the show this evening is AK and Bridgeman. Evening, AK.
Good evening, Rob. Good evening, Bridgeman, the techie team, and everybody that's listening.
Good evening, Bridgeman. How are you?
Oh, good evening, Robert. Good evening, AK. And a big good evening to the techie boys in the background as well. I'm very well, thank you very much. Can I just say to all the Rangers fans listening in all over the world, keep your chin up. We're going to need you. Keep your chin up.
Yes, of course. The dust is settled from last night's result, but AK, the frustration still lingers as it does this European campaign. I was obviously on the show last night, mate, so if I can just get your thoughts first of all, mate, on the game overall, and then we can digest it as we go on.
Aye, sure, no bother. I've got short and sweet for me. Colin Nish. On to you, Bridge.
I think he's your favourite player at the moment, then, eh? Sorry,
It's
guys.
either him or Raphael Shite.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Yeah. Seriously, and that was a very, very. Actually, I thought Mioshi's goal was a cracking goal. I'll give it all that overhead stuff. It's superb. I thought, and I thought we were very lucky with the offside decision, or rather the non-offside decision. But I was very happy for them. I'm not saying that they played that well, but we showed in patches. We showed how amateurish we really are at times. Some of the defensive free kicks and corners, we're still no winning the ball. We're still no winning the ball. Even our goalkeeper, who's sometimes reliable, he comes out to get it and he doesn't get it. These kind of things were going on. Defence didn't know what to do. But I thought when we got a turn of foot, when we started to get up, if we got into their half, we caused them problems. We definitely did that. But wasn't big enough pressure, and there wasn't enough shots at goal for a European tie. So I think we've maybe reached a level of the players. This is about I think it's a stretch too far for these players. The quality of players that we're playing against and the teams that we're playing against and the managers and all that, I think they're far too much for our club with the quality of players we've got at the moment. And hopefully, come Christmas time, we're going to improve that and bring the quality back up again as much as possible. But to me, that's all it was. We were once again, we were outplayed, outfought, outthought, you name it, it was all there. But no, when we got attacking, I thought we did quite well. So,
Bridgeman, I don't think the issue is the quality we're up against this year. I think if you look at it, Roman and Porto, obviously Porto still to come. They're the two names in the league phase that you looked at was going to be tricky ties, but the rest, arguably, were all winnable games. I think the biggest issue we've got is the quality we have in the squad.
That's what I'm talking about.
Bigger and better teams. So again, it's teams that we should be beating, and ultimately we're not. And that's obviously started by the games that were happened before Danny Rule came in. So he was always up against a mountain in the Europa League.
100%, Paul. That's what I was trying to say. That the quality we've got inside our squad, it obviously isn't good enough for some of the team, the level of some of the teams that we're playing. That team were very good in patches, particularly first 20 minutes. But they're big, strong. They know what they're doing, and they don't take any prisoners. We do. We create a lot of problems for ourselves in the pitch by indecision, by maybe just poor play. So we get all of that. So we're going to have to find a way to get past that, because there's no doubt about it. As we go forward, we look quite good, and we're now. I saw last night, just for saying sake, we were run down the left. I got down there, and I can't remember who it was that tried to cross the ball in, but it went right out the park on the opposite side. So that's the ball going something like 50 yards, and we're supposed to be getting near the penalty spot for, So and it was the same the other way when we tried to kick it across. So a couple of mistakes by players at crucial times causes problems.
AK, you've touched on it many times in this show about Miovski being that penalty box striker. You'd rather see him in between the sticks. And that's where he was last night when he got a break the ball, and as Bridge said, acrobatic finish. It just shows you what he can do when he's in that box.
It was a great finish, Rob. Very, like a gymnast. The way he was up in the air and he spun and connected with it. Instinctive finish. It was a very difficult finish, to say the least. I think initially looking at it, I think everybody thought it was offside. And even when you see in the lines, you're like, they've gave us one there. But I think an attacker should get the advantage, to be honest with you, when it's that close. But listen, getting back to the two teams, one team looked as if they've got a chance to qualify to cement themselves in the top 8 in the table, and there's other one languishing the bottom 4, and that's exactly how the game panned out. Rangers players, it's a knitted together team. It's a team that's lacking in confidence, that's obvious, and it's obviously a new manager trying to instill his beliefs into the system, and why we get rid of a previous manager. And obviously you've got the other end of the scale where Robbie Keane's in there, and he's done a very good job, to be fair to him. He's put together quite a young team, quite a robust team. Up front they looked dangerous all night. I thought the big guy Youssef, Nigerian, and obviously that earmarked the guy Varga before we even started. So that was his 20th goal this season. We've got a defender on 4 goals that's our top striker. You know, that just shows you the difference between the two teams. It wasn't a game of high quality. I don't expect him to go far in the competition, but it's more about us turning ourselves back to domestic stuff now, and we pray and hope that Miovski injury isn't as bad as we fear.
Aye, certainly, mate. Hopefully it is just a precaution, given the crucial games that are coming up. They've just made a wise choice to bring him off and replace him with Big Chermiti, who is, again, only the option we've got up front there. Bridgeman, you mentioned about individual mistakes that have cost us. We'll touch on the equaliser for Ferencváros. For me, having seen it back, there's a domino effect. Ox touched on it last night about Barron not going with his man, which forced somebody else, I can't remember who it was, to move out of position. But for me, I still pinpoint Gassama for not following his man. I know he's not defensively minded, but when you're in that position, you're asked to do a job defensively. You've got to be following your man, because in Europe, you will be punished. And we were.
Well, look, Gassam or Gazam or Gaman, what are they going to call him? He plays wide left in general. Very, very good player wide left. As an attacking force, he's quite good and positive. But the trouble is with anybody playing up front, there's, they're playing against a fullback who that fullback runs, the whole length of the park to get inside the opposition half and do the business in there, because he's a key to their attack, just like our fullback come up as well, But if you're playing, your left back's already back there, and you're playing it wide left, and the fullback, your opposition fullback runs past you, runs down the play, and you don't go. What's that about? Why are you not going? Do you not see him passing you? That's the questions you got to ask. It's the same all over the pitch. People who are up against you, this is you watch what he's doing, and go to sleep. Go to sleep. Shocking.
AK, what was your thoughts on the first goal for Ferencváros?
Schoolboy defending. See, when we're relying on a so-called winger to carry out defensive duties, that's when we're in bother as a team. Lack of communication, letting others run away for you and all that. That's not his gig. I know this is modern day football, and by the way, when you reflect back on it, Ryan Kent and Joe Aribo were excellent at it for digging out their defenders, but the defence has got to be more organised. Your midfielders need to slot into positions just to make they sort of balls and runs between you as hard as possible. Is he sleeping? Aye. Does Barron shut the guy down quickly enough? No. Does the guy run off his Giga and Fernandez? Of course it is. Slight deflection as well. But it's a poor goal to lose at that stage of the game. You go into half-time 1-0 up. Instead of that, it's one each. And then they've got their tails up. So it was calamity defending once again, mate. But am I surprised? No. And that's the sad reality where we are as a team now.
I couldn't disagree more, mate. Or agree more, rather. Bridgeman, I'm going to come to yourself first, mate, for the second goal, because a guy who you've spoke a lot of in this show, Big Fernandez. Again, I said last night, first thing you've got to do with a cross is stop the ball at source. But as soon as it comes in, Manny Fernandez, there's no excuse for that, mate, is there?
Well, to me, he lost sight of everything. He lost sight of his own players, and as far as that move was concerned, and he lost sight of the guy who's supposed to be going to play it. What am I doing here? Oh, this is my ball. No, it's not my ball. Why is that? Oh, all of a sudden the guy scored a goal. It's just rawness and thought, and I think we should be doing lots and lots and lots of work, making sure that centre halves are up to 100% on top of their thoughts in a game of football. Got to read the game, read the players. Who are you playing against? Who is this guy? You know, read who it is and learn from it. I don't think he's ever going to learn properly if he's going to do that at that level. Remember, we're playing a really good level of European football. So let's not make no mistake about it. These teams can play football. They're brought up in a very, very hard coaching environment, and they're told to do this, that, and the next thing, and they follow it to the letter. And that's what they did last night. And they put pressure on us, and I'm afraid that our two centre halves in different times of the game failed to match the pressure that these players. They failed to get themselves up for it, watch who they're playing. I mean, Big Fernandez, what is he doing? He's turning his back. He's turning his back on the player. What the hell are you doing? You're supposed to get goal side him and put him at the park if you need to. Sorry, guys. It really upsets me.
AK, if you saw that defending at your local park at a weekend as a coach, you'd be absolutely fuming. So, again, there's no excuses for that, mate, at all, is there?
No, it's as Bridge touched on there. It's just pure. I don't know what he was thinking. Obviously, he's trying to keep his eye on the man, but for Tavernier to just saunter out to the guy, let him do his wee dribble, and then pick out a ball in the middle of the area. Varga attacks it well. He's got his eyes on the ball constantly, but it's Fernandez is the wrong side of him. His position play is he lost his man, he lost his ball. It's just stupid defending. And McCoy's stone commentary, he was in disbelief, and no wonder we all were. You can't afford to lose goals like that. I mean, I know Bridgeman says that they were a better team than us and they're playing a better level. Well, I and no. See when you look at the Champions League proper now, we got absolutely schooled with Bruges, home and away. A team like Arsenal can take a second string to Bruges and school them on their own ground. So there's levels right across Europe now. There are tiers right across Europe. And I'm afraid teams like Ferencvaros, as good as the result was against us last night, and us, we're bottom 8, bottom 9, bottom 10 out of that tier of European football now for me, as sad as what it sounds. But that's where we are as a club, and the sooner we reflect on that and start rebuilding and get proper quality in our team, but that's going to be a problem. But we are where we are now because of the recruitment. That's what it boils down to in a nutshell. We've spoken about it many a time.
100%, AK, absolutely.
Just a question I'm going to ask you is I'll take a yes or no answer first. I can imagine what the answers will be here. Jack Butland, should he have came for the cross for the second ball? Bridgeman first, and then AK.
Well, personally, yes, it should have. Plenty of time to see it. It wasn't one of these balls that was disappearing. It plenty of time. Well, it looks like it had plenty of time to see it, and it didn't come. So there's one. That's one problem. His decision making on it. Oh, that's the other. That's the other thing. Well, it doesn't do I come or do I go? No. Yeah, I think yes, 100%. It should have come.
AK.
Put it this way, mate, if it was their keeper, I think he would have came for it. He was brave like that all night, and that gives confidence to his defenders round about when you've got a keeper willing to come off his line and command his area. We've spoken about Butland before, the size of him, the stature of him. Go and command your 6-yard box, and to help his young defender out and just take responsibility for that situation, instead of letting the ball get to Varga to put it past him. Come and collect it, and if he takes a clatter, then fine. But at least he stopped a goal, because every chance the referee would award him a foul or that anyway, if a keeper gets touched. But maybe not in Scotland right enough, because you're allowed to kick them in the face, aren't you?
Oh well, aye. I could do a show on that itself, mate. Itself. Fox is saying he must have seen Fernandez was out of position, so that should have made his decision easier. Bridge to come and collect that ball.
That's a possibility. That's what we're meaning by, there's a couple of things he's got to think about, and if he's got to make his decision to come and go based on the way he feels is round about him. My personal opinion is he might have thought that, but it didn't look like that to me. Yeah, I thought he had plenty of space to get out there and tons of time to get the ball.
I think for me, there's an argument that he could have came and collected it, but I think if you look at the way he obviously came for one from a set piece. He didn't get it cleanly at all. It was always going to be a punch, but he elected to try and hold it, lost it, and then even catching the ball, although he caught it and held it, he was kind of always trying to sort his feet out. I felt last night, AK, I don't know if you touched up on that. He was always just kind of backpedaling quite often to try and reach it at its highest point, and you always got a bit of a fear that he was going to drop it.
Well, surely that comes down to decision making with your keeper. Then take responsibility, show a bit of leadership with your back line. A ball in an area, a guy that size, that stature. I mean, Andy Gorham would have came for something like that, and he had two brilliant centre halves in front of him with Richard Gough and John Brown. But they all had trust in each other, and it just looks as if there's a lack of trust there. With Butland, with the defence, just it looks disjointed. But we're still in the embryos, the early stages of trying to build a team. Still lack of confidence, but Europe's beyond us now. We just need to regroup and look towards Monday.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Anyway, listen, we'll get the phone lines opened and we'll hear what the listeners have got to say about the game from last night, what their thoughts are ahead of a massive game on Monday night at Ibrox against Hibs. So let's hear from you.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
AK, something that was I seen earlier on today was the positions of British teams in European competitions. I think that kind of the picture, if anybody else has seen it out there, sums up exactly where Scottish football as a whole is as well. UEFA competition dominated by one of the top 5 leagues in Europe.
I seen the post myself there, pal. I actually jotted it down there if nobody's seen it. If you want, I'll quickly run through all the teams that the highlighted. Basically all the UK teams, the English and Scottish teams. So in the Champions League, Arsenal are top, Man City 4th, Liverpool 9th, Spurs, Newcastle, Chelsea 11, 12, 13. Then we go into Europa League, Aston Villa 3rd, Nottingham Forest 11th, Celtic 24th, Rangers 33rd. And then the Conference League, you've got Crystal Palace in 9th place and Aberdeen in 33. What that basically says to me is the money that UEFA has allowed the top 5 leagues to monopolise European competition is basically making it no uneven competition. These squads and clubs are getting richer and richer, and it's leaving everybody else behind. So for me, UEFA have killed European competition, whereas in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, you know, that there was Scottish teams done very well, considering how small a population we are. Bridgeman will tell me better, but I think Dundee got to the semi-final of a European Cup. I think Hibs done very well in the Fairs Cup. Obviously Celtic, ourselves, Aberdeen, Dundee United. I can remember Hearts beating Bayern Munich in the 80s as well. But for me now, Rob, that is just totally killed, and UEFA have allowed it to happen.
And you come, Bridgeman?
That's he's absolutely right. You know, I think number one, it's killed it. Certainly from our perspective, I doubt very much if I don't even know if we can mathematically get out of this, but I doubt very much if we will anyway. You know, and I dare say a lot of the Bears are feeling the same way. You're really downhearted. But yeah, what he's saying, AK is saying about that, it's the riches, you know, particularly in the European area. They're amazing how much riches these teams are getting and what they're allowed to do. Because sometimes the laws of the game in their different countries are slightly different, and so you can have like Real Madrid. Now Real Madrid, supposedly one of the biggest and richest clubs in the world, but they've been in debt a long time, you know. In the past, I don't know if they're still in debt. You know, they could build these fabulous stadiums. They could go and buy all these wonderful players, spend an absolute fortune on it, and then when they're in trouble, they never get punished. Well, it doesn't seem like it to me anyway. So I think we up in Scotland here, we know what it's like. It's very tough. It's tough for the Rangers, and we're going to have to live. And I think what I would say for a good 5 or 6 years there, irrespective of who was our manager, we were doing really, really well in Europe. We were gathering the points, and we were always the top team within the coefficients side of things. We were one of, particularly the Scottish teams anyway. We were way up there. So now we're probably way down coefficient wise, and I might never get that back again because it's tough, you know. But yeah, AK is right. AK is right.
AK Bridge makes a very good point. Realistically, European football is over for us. We're not going to progress any further. It's not mathematically impossible yet, but it would take a monumentous few results to go our way, as well as us getting 2 victories in the last few fixtures. But this would be the first campaign since season 18, season 19, that we have failed to go after the group/league phase in European football. So for me, that tells me the foundations that were set by Steven Gerrard all those years ago have just totally been dismantled in one campaign.
I would say aye and no. I know where you're coming from. I know what your point is, but I wouldn't say it's in one campaign. I think this has been a regression over about 2 or 3 years. Basically, Gerrard was allowed to build a squad to compete in all fronts, but obviously domestically was the focal point. But for him, first and foremost, to allow him to get where he wanted to be, he needed money. And I think the money side that came with our European runs. So Gerrard was that was the, I think Andy Halliday tells the story, that was his first words. I want to qualify for this Europa. We're not just there to make up numbers. We want to set down a marker, and that'll gather us a bit of momentum, hopefully, to go into domestic. So eventually he got there. He was allowed to build. He was allowed to bring in better players, better quality players, go and get who he wanted to fit the team. And eventually that led us onto our 55. But the knock-on effect for that was obviously the players that he'd brought into the club allowed Gio to then take it a stage further and get us so far in Europe, all the way to a European final fantastic for the club, fantastic for the players that was involved. But after Gio left, I think that's where it started to go downhill, because Michael Beale coming into the club dismantled a lot of that team, sold a lot of players, Sakala, guys of that out, allowed Lundstrom to leave, allowed Barisic to leave, Kent, Morelos, Kamara, they all left naturally. And this is where we are now. After Michael Beale come on, was then under the instruction of basically you're financially restricted, you can't bring in who you want. And, because of that, the quality player wasn't there, apart from wages. We could still pay out decent wages, but we couldn't go and buy somebody. But undoubtedly, the business that we have done this year has totally wrecked all the good that we've done in the previous year. So in essence, you're right, but our one season, no, but our 2 or 3 seasons, I would say, yeah.
The reasons that I think it's been done in just one campaign, AK, again, this is just my opinion, mate, is you've had Gerrard, as you said, build that squad, laid their foundations. Gio continued it, got to a final. And then even Clement got us into the latter stages as well. So we've had 3 managers who've got us to at least far into competition beyond the group stage of the league phase. And then we've had Farewell and Stewart and Russell Martin, and it's just went completely wrong on this campaign. So that's why I focus it on one campaign. But I take your point, and I'll go to Bridge to get his as well, mate.
I think what you said there is 100% true. I think Russell Martin coming to the Rangers, just from a manager perspective, was an absolute disaster for us. Absolute disaster. And I hope this young lad that is running the place now can do a lot better than he did. And at least he's getting us some wins, and league-wise. But we need to be a lot better. But he's been left with the players, the quality of players that we've got. And I can't believe that we've spent, I don't know how much we've spent, 20-something million pounds on players, and they can't play football. They can't pass to each other. I mean, that's all four times with our best, one of our best players couldn't pass the ball. They couldn't pass it 10 yards to their own man. They couldn't do it. Oh, infuriating. Anyway, that's what I've got to say about it. I think that if you look back to just 2 seasons ago, and some of the players that we had in there, we ended up emptying them out, particularly at the end of the last season. We emptied them out and cleared the way and thought, we're bringing in better. And we brought, disaster with the 2 people that come in to run the place and the manager as well. So the 3 top people gone, and unfortunately we're left with a lot of the players that they brought in. And that's what's done you. From way back, we've always been able to get there. And maybe not every year, but we'll obviously make a fist to it. But this close season there, oh my God. And the writing's on the wall for us, because to get to this level, you're not going to get back up to that level very quickly. You're going to have to do maybe 3 or 4 transfers windows to get that.
No, you're right, mate. It's something that will take some time. AK, do you want to come back in there, mate?
I was going to ask yourself, Rob, and Bridgeman and the listeners, what was your opinion on Tavernier's performance last night?
Oh, Bridgeman, do you want to go first?
Oh yes, I'll go on that.
And you go, mate.
Colin Nish. Nah, seriously. It was woeful. It really was woeful. At times, I still see him, the way I see him, and he's on the park, and he wants to go and do everything. He go take all the throw-ins and take all the corners and free kicks and all that. And it might be that maybe I'm just biased against him for some reason. It might be that the guy's right. He should be taking them all, but he's not anywhere near the level he was at 2 seasons ago. Never mind 3 seasons ago. Never mind 4 seasons ago when he was scoring God knows how many goals for us. If only we could get that James Tavernier back again. But he's there and he's captain, and you know, he's getting to the stage where you see you can describe some players. They're not a bad player in general, but sometimes his second pass is a tackle. That's basically what he does. The ball bounces now. The ball's starting to bounce off his knee, off his shin. When it shouldn't be like that, and it's going running that wee yard or two further away from him. Not all the time, but it happens, And he's going back defending. Sorry, he's not in the same world.
For me, AK, even as a right centre back last night, you were still seeing him far too high up the park. I think we get caught out twice. Giga, to his credit, bailed him out twice with some excellent recoveries, showed his pace, and get some last-ditch tackles and blocks in. And I think that highlighted, again, the kind of defensive weakness for Tavernier. And then, of course, when we make the substitutions and we change the shape, he goes to that kind of right-back position before he comes off. And again, that's where the goal comes from. He doesn't get out quick enough to block the cross, which again obviously leads to Fernandes not watching. So it's a catalogue of errors. But for Tavernier, you can say he's brought in because of his experience, but if he wasn't well last week, how well was he this week to really play? But I think overall, mate, the time's coming up. I think we all know that. We've said that for a number of years, as Bridgman says. I think he just get exposed last night. And I know we're very, very short at the back, but it looks now that if somebody can come in January and really push for a start, because Aarons hasn't really done a lot to force his way in and put Tav out. If there's a right back coming in, and it may be John Sterling coming back from injury, but you may see that Tav maybe will start to fizzle out towards the end of this season, mate. How about yourself?
No, listen, I think it's reasonable, fair points that he's are making. And Rob, I seen it myself. I pretty much shared your thoughts on it. I thought Big Giga made a couple of outstanding tackles, and it was because of Tavernier's high position up the park. I thought the way that we set up, I mean, we spoke about it briefly in our group chat. I thought that Aarons was going to be the fullback and maybe have Tavernier in front of him. And I think that's where you would probably get more out of him, because when he's playing in either centre of the defence or right back in the defence, he just leaves that gaping hole in behind him, and he expects somebody else to cover him. As I say, I've said before, Ryan Jack used to do it, Candace used to do it, and they used to be drilled in doing it. They recognise the danger and go and fill the hole. He doesn't know a lot of these players, so they don't know him as well and when he's going to move. So, for one of them to be disciplined enough to go and keep the shape of that back line, I just think he's become a bit of a liability for us, particularly when he's starting off in defence, playing midfield. If we're looking for that right-sided player to go and that's what Tav's good at. Just let him do it then. But knowing full well that Aarons is going to be there to keep the shape in the team, I think that's where a lot of your problems is coming from. It's always been like that, but we've had better players to be switched on to say, hey, we're missing a player out there. Kamara used to do it with Barisic, if you remember right as well, but we were well drilled. Michael Beale and Gerrard and Gio, they got their players well drilled enough to be switched on if we had any holes. Whereas I don't think we're as switched on with these players, and I think that's where it leaves us a bit vulnerable.
So would you play him as a right midfielder of a 4-2-3-1? He's that right hand side.
Aye. I would certainly have Aarons or somebody in behind him, and just if he wants to roam, he can roam all he wants, but he's not leaving that defence as exposed as what he's doing now.
Just to fling a spanner in the works, if he likes to come inside the pitch, as we see the way he does with this inverted fullback, or the way the modern day's going, we know he's not getting maybe the legs to get up and down the park for 90 minutes. Could you argue a place in central midfield as a kind of defensive cover, the way Fernando Rickson was? AK?
For me, no in the centre. The centre's got to be the thinker in the team. He's got to be the guy that's seen all the passes, and he's also got to be the guy that recognises danger and snuffs the danger out. Tav doesn't have that in him. He never has. He's a forward basically that's been forced into that mould of just playing like a Trent Alexander-Arnold. I mean, he's not the best defender in the world, but his delivery and that, what he gives, the qualities that he's got, Liverpool are missing this year. And it's evident because of the guy that they've got replacing him. I think it was Frimpong. He doesn't give the same delivery. He's not got the same relationship with Mo Salah, and that's causing them all sorts of problems. So it's just it's new teammates that's on and about him, and no switched on for the position that we find ourselves in. But that ball or the tap now, Tav has not got the legs to do that anymore. I mean, I thought you were going to say there's an argument for him being on the left to cut inside where Gassama is, because he's a kind of empty shirt now as well after his brilliant start to the season. We're just trying to find, we're just trying to solve the problems that the manager seems to be having. I think, to be honest, I think the more you play young Moore, I think the more you play young Curtis, and even throw Lyle Cameron into that team, I think give the team a bit of energy there, and then let's work it out round about then. That's what I'd be doing.
Fox says we should play Tav as striker. Bridgeman, you having that? Top goal scorer.
Actually, I have to say, Fox is normally quite good and witty, but I have to say there's a smidgen of truth in that, because he's not doing anything anywhere else in the pitch, and every time we see him, not every time, but a lot of times we see him, we wonder what is he doing, because he can't run back. He doesn't have the pace to go. To go. He couldn't play him as a midfielder, for instance. He's not got the skills for that or the brain. But the only two positions you haven't tried him in, let's say, is probably probably in the centre half or a centre forward in reality, and you might get something out of him as a centre forward. I would doubt it, but you might, because AK is absolutely 100% right, and I've been saying it for the best part of 2 years now. He's running out of legs, but we'll get him. Nobody wants to take a man off that can score upwards of 8 to 10 goals in a season. You don't want to take that out of the team. You're only cutting your own throat to a certain extent. And Tav's the person that can do that. Get the penalties, and Tav's our best bet to take a penalty, I must admit. So that's all. Tav, as far as I'm concerned, he's in his 10th year at Rangers, if not the 11th. But he's been fantastic for us. I'm not taking anything away from him. But you see, for the last 2 seasons, he's gradually getting slower and slower to the point where today, in this particular season, you're starting to see the damage that causes to the team. When you find out Tav is only strolling back because he really can't run that distance at speed. He just can't do it. I'm no don't to take anything away from what Tav's done, but to me, but we've not got anybody else that can take his place now anyway. So the boy Aaron's, well, no, not for me. But he's maybe got another 2 seasons to go to learn just what it is to play at that level of football. Because you see, he gets a wee bit panic sometimes. But I think Tav's one most experienced player. He's our captain. Sorry,
Rob. Before you bring in our caller there, got a wee question for you here. Would you give Tavernier a new contract? I know no. Bridgeman was dead against Suter.
I'll say no.
Me too.
Old Davy, full house, is it?
That's not old Davy on. What are you doing on here?
I'm trying to cheer myself up, Bridge, but it's very hard going this there.
I know, pal, I know.
Evening, boys. Evening. Hey, Robert, Bridge, AKI. What I was going to ask you is that apart from we're covering all the garbage that we're watching, we're covering it. You can't dress it up. It's diabolical. but it's getting painful all the time. It's getting so painful. What I'd like to ask you is, this is for the threes, who do you think that role will manage? I know this is hypothetical, but who do you think role will be able to get out, and who would you roughly think could come in? And I'd like to ask you, is there certain players there, obviously, that are under a contract that we can't move, or is it only going to be the ones that are on loan? Can we get them back as well?
I'll give you my thoughts first, Davey. Myself and Ox
Okay.
discussed this a wee bit last night as well. With Billy that was on. There is certainly no player in that squad that you say we need to keep a hold of, and that's a sad indictment, because you could look at seasons past and say we can't let him go, or we can only let him go for so much money. Right now, there's nobody there that you need to keep. Every player could go. Let's be brutally honest. Realistically, who can they get out? Depends which suitors are out there for each player. The guys that have come in the summer, a lot of question marks about them. Some are already misses already. Joe Rothwell not been in the squad of lately. Don't know what the issue is with him. Chermiti, who's going to take him off your hands? Magoma, he's playing regularly just now, so they probably just want to keep him there to develop, which I don't think we should be doing. We should develop our own first and foremost. The players coming in, it's hard to say, mate, because we all know January's a tough window, but I said last night I'd like to see 4 players come in, starters. I know that's a real difficult ask, but it would be 2 centre-halves, a midfielder and a striker. Who the names are is a wild guess just now, mate. But I'll take your points around the board, and I'll go to Bridgeman first and then AK.
Well, to all intents and purposes, you're going to lose a centre-half at the end of the season anyway. It was the lone guy, Jiga, if that's his name. He's going to go anyway, so you're going to have to bring someone in to replace him. And if you can get someone in January, all the better, because our centre-halves are running out of steam. So we need to be able to play better guys. Whether they go for a centre-half or not, I don't know, but I think they should. What was the other 2 you said? You mentioned 3, so you wanted centre-half. Who was else again? Just remind me, please.
Davey's question was, who do you think will get out, and who do you think you'll bring in?
No, well, you said you wanted 4 in.
I went 2 centre-halves, a midfielder and a striker.
Right, okay. So I'm with you there. I think they'll get 1 in as a centre-half, and the other 2 they'll definitely get. That's what they'll go for. We'll end up with 3 and you'll get 4. I don't think you'll get 4 unless they're seeing all this, and they must be feeling quite guilty that basically we've been left to languish without quality players on my team. And the manager can only do so much. He can't work miracles, that's for sure.
Robert, can I just ask you about a point that Bridgeman made there?
Sure.
Regarding Jiga. Okay, we know he's on a loan short, right? But have we got the ability to take him, to get him out? Or is he tied up with all this stupid contract nonsense? That might be the problem. That's the kind of thing I'm trying to ask. Where are we going? Who can we actually get out contract-wise? Out. There's a certain ones there we all know we want out, but contractually, I don't think there could be a problem. But maybe it's too much to sort of get to know at this stage.
I'll be honest with you, mate. I couldn't tell you. You don't really know a lot of contract details now. Normally, there would be either the parent club can do a recall on a player, which can be kind of pulled out at any time. In terms of us saying no, have him back, I don't know how much we are kind of allowed to do that. It probably does come down to contract fine lines and margins and details, which we're not privy to. But
yeah,
if the option's there, mate, I think there's a few loan players that you could make the argument for. He's obviously going to be leaving us as of Monday night after the game to go to the African Cup of Nations, and then when he comes back, there's not a long spell left for him within the team, and there's an opportunity for somebody to come in, whether that be John Sterling, to show him what he can do in centre half, and maybe have Jiga make some work to do. But I'll be honest, mate, I don't know contractual arrangements and things like that, but I'll go to AK with your points and see what his thoughts are.
Aye, sure, Robert, sure.
Evening, Davy. Listen, I think that I think what Rob's saying there's pretty much right. We're not privy to that knowledge, Davy. Same as anybody else, but it's really down to the relationship between the clubs. When we've got a situation where we've got Cortez or Sporting Gijon, and he's barely getting a game. So I think they'll probably be asking the same questions, their support to their club. Can we get rid of this guy? What wages you on? Can we send him back? Sort of thing. So we're in a similar situation. I mean, the loan deals and that, I mean, I think that's where the net, £20 million net comes from, because when you consider the players that we sold, the income that we got for them, as well as the transfer fees that we put out on players, there wasn't much of a difference between the two. But the £20 million net, Kevin Thelwell actually openly spoke about, there's a lot of loan deals in that, and the fees involved in that. I think Nicholas Jackson for Chelsea's went to Bayern Munich for £15 million for a year loan deal. You know, so you're not getting these players for nothing. Plus, you've got to pay a certain percentage of their wage. So I think that's where the £20 million net comes from that Thelwell spoke about. But getting back to your question, if we can get rid of them, you need suitors, you need buyers for these players. I would say that, I mean, Gassama was spoke about that Villarreal is supposed to be interested in him. If we can recoup our money on him, or maybe even make a small profit, pray to God, then I wouldn't miss him. But I wouldn't be selling Nico Raskin now, particularly with a World Cup coming up. I read somewhere that he's got a £15 million clause in it, and Besiktas were sniffing about him for that. But if he goes away with Belgium and has a good World Cup, you could basically double that, or put at least 10 million onto it. So that's about the only guy that I would say that we shouldn't be letting go in January if a club does come sniffing around about, because he's contracted to 2028 now. It's not the 18 month that we thought.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you made a good point there, AK. I'm watching some of the chats coming up on YouTube, you know, and the boys are really good. But I mean, one of Robert came up with when they keep gay Suter alike and all that. But I'd be very critical of that Suter at the moment. Well, past tense. But I'll tell you one thing, he is miles and miles safer than that Fernandes. That is a total bomb scare. We're not even going to talk about the centre forwards yet, but the whole back four. See when you look at our defence at a corner, it's like a circus. It's a lot of wee midgets in a circus against the giants. No offence to dwarfs and all that. No, my apologies, but that needs to get sorted.
Aye, David, made a great point, mate. Physicality, it's very much lacking. If you actually go back to the summer, it's one thing that Russell Martin actually said he wanted to bring in the side was physicality. And okay, we've brought in guys who are 6 feet plus, but they get shrugged off the ball far too easily. Chermiti, more time on the ground than anything else. Diamonde, another one. I know he's been there a while, but they just brushed off the ball far too easily. AK.
Oh, definitely, but even Connor Golson wasn't commanding in the air. Neither was John Suter, and the only two guys that won plenty in there for me were Big Helander and Balogun. The rest of them have been poor. Barisic wasn't good in there. Tavernier's no good in there. Commanding wise, midfield, Lundstrom, we certainly miss him. I tell you two players that we did miss, and it's going back to Gerrard's here. We Morelos won a hell of a lot of buzz in there, and so did Big Aribo as well. But we're missing. But when I see Connor Barn, what was it again? Was it Dundee United? I think he was marking a guy. The guy was about a foot taller than him. I mean, that's just poor. Set piece coach we're meant to be. Surely the guy will know that he's a foot taller than him and give him somebody weird taking a man mark, you know. But Big Chermiti, nah, it's just powder puff stuff. You can't put heart in a moose with a lot of these players, and these players are not putting effort in, not for what we see.
We're very
Davey.
cool tonight, aren't we?
Friday night fun, Bridgeman. What you on about? Davey, AK asked a question about getting Tavernier a contract. There's been rumours this week about John Souttar being offered a contract. Again, nothing official. What would your view on that be? Would you give Souttar a contract?
All depends on who you can get out the door. You've got to get them out to get them in. And at this moment, we need. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea at the moment, but if you don't give him a contract and we're left with two numpties, then you're in trouble. Because we're talking about Fernandes not being able to head his balls and no clearing balls. I'm not even talking about that. I'm just talking about his overall game, his positioning, the way he sets himself up. Even you look at that first goal, he virtually turns his back on the ball and it hits his foot and goes in. I'm not saying he was just the main culprit, but he sensed that they can't pick up nobody. So, I mean, where's this tactics coach? And that's a nonsense. Set them up. Okay, it'll take time to settle down. But I'll tell you this, it'll not settle down with that lot because they are clueless.
Brisbane, same question to yourself. John Souttar, I know you've been a man who's been critical of him over the years, but you've obviously praised Fernandes, but at the current point in time, I think we would probably take John Souttar just now over the two that are playing. I know Jig had a good game last night, recovery-wise, and for Tavernier quite a few times, but it's hard to argue that John Souttar would make some improvement in that back line at the minute. But would you give him a contract overall?
Well, you don't need to look back too far, before Souttar got injured. He was playing rotten. We have to be honest. I'm not being funny. You have to be really honest. When what was it, last week, week before, they said they were going to possibly offer him a new contract. And I'm thinking, what's the reason for this new contract? Other than the fact that he's leaving, and do we desperately need John Souttar? Because we haven't desperately needed John Souttar up until this point. I mean, our defence has been rotten most of the season. And I think Rafael is Fernandes rather, is a better centre-half than John Souttar. That's my opinion. He's just young and raw, that's all. Souttar is a really good blocker. He blocks, it really is. And the amount of times he's actually saved Rangers with these blocks has been tremendous. So I'll give him that. I don't want to sort of dig a guy down. I think he's done that, but to me, that's about all he does. He scores the odd goal. But John Souttar, causes a lot of problems for the Rangers. The way he runs up, and he doesn't know what to do with the ball. He ends up going right away into the opposition half, and then he loses the ball, and before you know it, we're being attacked, and the centre half's not there. So the way he plays overall in his general game isn't good enough. He's not. I don't think he's not a great centre half, but he makes a lot of blocks, and that's a very positive thing for him. I wouldn't buy him. I wouldn't give him any more money.
AK, with yourself on Souttar, and you never gave us your answer for Tavernier as well. So give both of them.
Sorry.
After Danny Rowe speaking about what the team misses, he's keen on players with some identity towards Rangers again and try to rebuild that. But we're kind of clutching at straws a lot. We don't have the same amount of players that we used to have. The picky, brought up Rangers supporters, brought up, knowing what the history and heritage, the culture is all about the Rangers. Souttar fits that bill, so to speak, but no as a first pick for me. I think he's there as a squad player. I think see if he had a dominating centre half next to Souttar, I think he would play better because he seems to thrive when he goes away with Scotland. He can adapt to a back three. He can play in a back four, but he needs somebody there to guide him. He's not a talker. He's not the leader. in the team that we want, but as a stopgap rather than going to some other league and nobody, he doesn't know what the expectancy levels at, rather than pay out £3-4 million or whatever for somebody you just don't know what you're going to get. At least what you know you're going to get off a suitor. Is that the way to go forward? No, but it'll maybe save is getting somebody for a couple of years. For me, mate, I've said it before and I'll say it again. Alex Gogic walks into your defensive line. He's a leader. Forget his age. He's a leader. He'll command the defence. He's brave. He'll go and win balls, and he'll at least get us through to the end of the season. And I don't think he'll cost us that much. I don't think he'll be a massive wage. I think the guy is just staring us in the face. And how many players have we done that way? Just ignored. The recent one being Lawrence Shanklin, Lewis Ferguson. We just seem to ignore these guys and ignore the qualities that they would bring to us.
There's certainly a few players in the other teams in Scotland that we could list and look at and say that they could come in and do a job for us. One that's been mentioned again has been young David Watson down at Kilmarnock. His contract's up at the end of the season. Katibi in addition in the midfield. Similar kind of stature and attributes of what we've got in the middle for me at the minute. But would they improve the squad? Hard to say that he wouldn't, given the basis form or current form that we're seeing, especially at middle of the park. But Gogic, mate, you're right. He's an enforcer at the centre back, isn't he? He takes no prisoners. Puts his head in where it hurts, and we've been on the wrong end of Gogic a few times. He's a threat in both boxes. He's certainly, as you say, commanding, and maybe he is somebody that we're a bit naive as a club or as a support to just say, nah, he plays for St Mirren, he's not good enough. And that's maybe where we've missed out in the past, as you said, mate. Many players have left before and have went on to pastures new, and we've missed out big time. Davey?
Yeah, you summed that up good there, Robert. I mean, when I was talking about Suter, I was only making the point that if you're going to game, personally, if you're looking ahead, I wouldn't game a contract, right? But if you're looking at it sensibly, you let him go, and we're left, as I said before, and we're left with 2 numpties, and we don't get anybody else in. We're going to be in a bigger mess than what we are at the moment. So it all depends on who goes out and who comes in. But that's down to the guy who owns the shop, and whatever he's going to give role, if he's going to give him a free hand. But as I think Hawk says it many times, it's who goes out, who we get in. That's what it boils down to, guys.
Certainly, mate. Certainly. Again, it's the key word, as we always say, and I've said many times this season already, and we're only a couple of months into the season. It all boils down to that recruitment. And at this point in time, with no director of football in place currently as we speak, it seems that Danny Rowe could be the man that has the say coming into January, which I'll put a question to you after the tune. So get yourselves on mute and join us after the tune.
I've sailed the wide Atlantic, across the broad Pacific shore. I've sailed around the stormy capes, I've heard the parties roar. I fly the Indian Ocean, I've sailed the China Sea. But there's a sea back home in Scotland, means more than all the rest to me. It's the blue sea of thy brow. It's the greatest sight that I have ever seen. It's the blue sea of thy brow. And it happens when the orange beat the green. No more I'll sail the 7 seas, no more I'll ever roam. No more I'll join the happy throng with the Rangers banners all around. We'll proudly sing this song. It's the blue, yes, the blue sea of my brow. It's the greatest sight that I have ever seen. It's the blue, yes, the blue sea of Ibrox. And it happens when the orange beat the green. It's the blue, yes, the blue sea of Ibrox. It's the greatest sight that I have ever seen. It's the blue, it's the blue sea of Ibrox. And it happens when the orange beat the green. And it happens when the orange beat the green.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972? It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Thanks for that, Fox. Yes, come and join us, folks. Come and give us your answers to Davey's question. Is there anybody out there who you would like to see Danny Rule bring in January? And what positions would you like to strengthen also? I know you could say 10, but come give us your thoughts. Bridge, AK.
Yeah, Rob. Rob, just when you said that, is there anybody there? I thought you were using nonsense. Would you, Bob?
Well, let me tell you, AK, if I did use that, I'd get a better result than what he's getting. Long may that continue.
Hey, Robert, you know my biggest worry is if Danny turns up with one of the boards that other clowns go up, then I'll start worrying.
As long as he keeps it hidden and uses it, I think you'll be all right, mate.
Oh, no.
Anyway, listen, a wee question for yourselves. As I said, we're coming up to some important games, and I know this is a while away yet, the January window, but it's an important stage of any kind of football calendar, and it's going to be an important one for us, so that we can try and get some quality into the squad. But as I said, at this moment in time, there's still no announcement or any kind of information of a director of football being appointed before the window. So my question to you guys and the listeners out there is, would you be comfortable with Danny Rule being the man in charge of this transfer window? The reason I ask is the last manager that we gave the reins to was infamously Michael Beale, and he spent a pretty penny as well. But would you be comfortable with Danny Rule taking the reins going into January and bringing in the players that he identifies that can improve a squad that he has identified using the traffic light system where weaknesses are? Davey, then Bridgeman, and then AK.
Oh, definitely. I mean, that's a given, you know, but the thing is he going to get that opportunity? That's the big question, because if he doesn't, who else is going to do it then? I'll ask you that. If he doesn't get the authority to try and achieve that, who else can you get in to do it? Because you've not got anybody else. So it's going to be Danny Rule, isn't it? Surely. You've got to trust the man.
Yep, but as a supporter, David, would you be comfortable with allowing him to do that in January?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm at 100%, because if you look at what we've just got rid of, the guy he can't even come close to be as bad as that. So I'm comfortable with it. All day wrong, Robert, all day wrong.
Richman?
Yeah, I must admit I'd be quite comfortable with it myself, given the fact that we know the club aren't going to appoint a sporting director or a football director, which is it's criminal. It's just criminal. We just the very first thing should have done should have got out and got somebody. However, that might happen in the new year. I don't know, but it's between the devil and the deep blue sea with us. The manager has got to be the next one that's going to stand up and do it. So he'll be reporting. I would imagine he'd be reporting directly to the interim chief executive officer. I mean, we were sitting here and we're here only a couple of weeks before Christmas, and you're talking about a transfer window coming up, and we don't have a director of football, and we don't have a CEO. What is going on with our club? I don't know how long it takes for these things, but my God, it's not worth thinking about. But yeah, it's got to be the manager that picks the team then, and getting signs of players.
Just before I go to AK, Bridge, I think one thing that Andrew Kavanagh said publicly in his statement was they would take their time with these appointments and they would go for quality over speed. So if it takes this time to get the right appointment, I'm all for it, because we need to get it right. AK?
I'll let you into a wee bit of info. Last night, I believe Andrew Kavanagh actually took in the Rangers game in a pub, in a bar, a Rangers bar in New York. A friend of mine's over there now, and he was actually in the bar and he spoke to him. He was also sitting with some business association that have a vested interest in Rangers. He didn't go into detail on them, but they were left underwhelmed with what they were watching. They weren't amused with what they were watching. But the friend of mine spoke to him and they said, what's happening with transfers, what's happening with business and this and that. And he said not to expect too many signings come the January window, because basically they don't have a director of football, you don't have a CEO, and obviously they're looking to replace these guys and replace the guys that they're going to use, with the analytics and things like that. So I think what he's looking at, to answer your question, Rob, is basically trust Danny Rowe just now in January. He'll listen to a wee bit to last night's show, Billy's idea of going back to Germany, Bundesliga 2, use his contacts. I think he worked in Salzburg as well. He worked with thing with Flick at Barcelona. Use his contacts to bring in 2-3 players, whatever it is, and then Kavanagh says we expect to go big in the summertime. That was his very words.
Good point, Alec.
A Rangers radio exclusive there from AK. Thanks for that, mate. For me, I think it would make sense, if I'm being honest, because if the head coach or manager has came in to a group of players that he's assessed and gave them a yes or a no or a maybe with the traffic light system, if he's identifying these players aren't good enough, then he knows where we need to improve on the park. And again, as AK says, he's got contacts in the sport and around the world to use and say, I need this type of player for this position. Who would you recommend? Who have you got? He may even have an eye on a couple of players that he's seen already from previously working from maybe, as AK says, in the youths and working his way up, and he's seen a progression level and he feels that they could add to it. For me, it would make sense for the guy to improve a squad that he's assessed. I just think it would be silly not to use that, if I'm being honest. Davey?
That's good. I'm just watching the chat here. It says Rangers Radio, Hogan's Heroes. Keep it coming, guys. Keep it coming. We all need cheered up here. Oh, what was you saying there, Robert? I'm sorry, I'm watching the telly. I'm listening to you.
No, you're fine, mate. I'm just saying it would make sense for a head coach to assess a squad to then go and get players that he thinks and feels can improve that squad that he's assessed. It'd be silly not to use that knowledge.
Yeah, well, that is where we are at the moment, because nothing's going to change between now and the end of this. Everybody's anticipating because there's a transfer window in January, and January is always a very difficult month to do this kind of business. So I'm just hoping that he was really angry last night. Now he knows the problems, so he's got to he must know that he can identify them and get it sorted. But whether he gets what he wants to do that is another story. But as the AK was saying, what he was talking about in New York, this will only happen overnight. We're going to have to buckle down. I've said it for months. We'll need to buckle down because this ain't going to change for a wee while. We just need to get settled back into getting that back. I'm just keep going on about it. I know that's not the main problem, but that defence is going to get sorted out.
Well, you say it's not the main problem, Davey. Is it the main problem? Because we can't win games if we keep conceding goals and making individual errors.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple of points made out about Butland. They'll make mistakes. I mean, Butland made the biggest mistake at the end of the first half when he boots the ball right up the park and it goes to their goal and they get back down and score a goal. Now, that guy's an international goalkeeper. That's all but what I'm saying, like with Fernandez. They're not managing the game properly. But I think Rowe will get that embedded into them. But he's got to get the right players. He can't get that lot that other idiot brought in. And that's just not going to be at the snap of a finger. We'll just need to see what happens. And hopefully, we start progressing in the right direction.
Davey, somebody's just made a pitch for you to become the new sporting director on Facebook. Are you interested?
As long as there's Maltesers in the goal.
I'm sure we can put that in your contract, mate.
Blocks will not agree to
that. AK, I think we all knew, as Davey says, January's always a tough window to shop in. Again, I know I said 4, but that maybe is a wee bit unrealistic, to be honest with you. But Billy said last night he would like to see the owners push the boat out in January. But given what you've said there, that it seems to be the focus will be on the summer to go again. But Billy's point was, now that Europe's pretty much done and dusted, we can really focus in this league, push the boat in January, and remarkably make an amazing story and try and win this league.
Listen, Billy's point's valid, but it's just no practical, I'm afraid. No the way these guys are thinking, no way the instability still within the club, because we needed a structure to support the manager, and we basically recognised that structure wasn't there, and the manager wasn't the right man for the club either. And obviously the knockdown effect of that is the recruitment's wrong, the players, the team is wrong. It's all wrong. So they've had to rip up their blueprint and start again. The Rangers is a unique club in that sense. American sport, Rob, there's no really competition, so to speak, in a lot of these sports, your baseball, your basketball, your Super Bowl, it's just, if you finished 4th or 5th in the league, you can still win something through a playoff method. You don't have that what do you call it, safety net in Scotland. It's first or nothing, and they don't get that mentality. I think he gets it now, but he's totally misinterpreted Scottish football and Rangers in particular. The brand Rangers is there, but it's been damaged a hell of a lot over the last few years. Gerrard instilled that belief, and GOAT is recognised and respected again in European level, but we're not anywhere near as strong or as dominant or as competitive as we should be in Scottish football. Because let's not skip the issue. We're still putting out plenty of money, but we're spending it on duds rather than making shrewd signings and looking at shrewd markets. So he needs to rethink, a massive rethink, but it's cost him plenty, by the way. It's emotionally cost us because we're following rubbish and we don't like what we're seeing, but it's cost him tens of millions of pounds, all of this. So he's recognised, he's owned it, he's got rid of the three stooges that he brought in, but the bigger hit is now with the club, the players, because they're all on, collectively tens of millions of pounds, and we need players to move on. So you need buyers, you need suitors. So we need to take hit, not just on the wage bill, but on the transfer fee. And he's got to, cover all the costs again. But it's him, it's Andrew Kavanagh, that he's a bottom line guy that's, gave the okay to all these transfers and that. So he's trying to rectify all the issues on it, Rob. But it's we just need to, I think he needs to get it right. We all know that. But bottom line is, whoever, his idea, go back, sorry mate, his idea at the start of the season when him and Parag Marat sat down in front of Rangers TV, he told us there and then, you'll no see a lot of us, we'll no be hands on, we'll be across the water. And basically I think they were doing Zoom calls in that way, Patrick Stewart and Kevin Thelwell and Russell Martin, and obviously what they were telling them was a load of crap. Everything's going well, this player's brilliant, we've signed this, that, everything's going great. It's only when he started coming out here and seeing for himself, and he actually stood in the rain, the pissing rain, under a brolly, witnessed the training sessions, and went, these players are bloody hopeless. Yeah, he's watched that last night. He's at Old Trafford, and Man United are beating us in the last minute. We're miles away from that team last year, and that team were 17 points against Celtic. So we've regressed badly for him, but he's recognised that, he's owned it now, but he needs to get every appointment now has got to be perfect to get us back to where we want to be. Sorry for the long rant there. I'm turning into Albert.
You're doing very well, pal. You're doing very well, AK.
And you come, Bridgeman, and you come.
Well, look, a wee 5 minutes ago or so, you mentioned that players you would want to get in, and I know AK quite likes that boy who used to be with Hamilton, Gogic. Personally, I think his game or his style of play, his legs are starting to go as well, and I think you would end up with him coming into Rangers and getting red card after red card, because if you're marked when you've got one of these big blue jerseys on for the Rangers, and the hatred against the team and club, it's all there. And I think the referees would have a field day with him. At the present moment, they book him every now and again, and some of the stuff he does is absolutely horrendous. You kind of laugh about it a wee bit, but it's absolutely horrendous and nonsense stuff. Just all this nonsense of sort of shoulders in the back and all that nonsense. Professional fouls, he used to call them, but they hardly get talked to. They would get talked to if he was in Rangers, I can assure you that. And the elbows up, all that nonsense. So the guy's definitely got that. He's got craft, and I liked him when he was with Hamilton Accies. I thought he was a smashing player, somebody that we could have invested in and let him grow into the Rangers, and you might have ended up with a half decent servant there. But no for me now. But I respect what AK is saying about him, because I know I liked him and I watched him a number of times. I thought he was a really good player for Hamilton Accies. I'm not that keen on him since he's moved on away for the across things happen. Sorry, bud.
Rich, is he better than what we've got right now?
In certain instances, yeah. But I'm thinking a lot of players play quite well and they look really good particularly against the Rangers. And you think to yourself, he's good. I thought he was good with Hamilton. I don't think he's as good against with other teams as he'd been with Hamilton. I thought he was very successful there. But if he stepped into a Rangers jersey, I'm telling you now, he would need to be absolutely pure as a driven snow. Otherwise, he's going to get booked and sent off a number of times. That's what's going to happen to him, because it's happening to all our players for nothing. Players getting sent off for absolutely nothing, and he will definitely get sent off. Definitely. I think he's too old now for us to be taking him on. That, in my honest opinion. I agree with you. I agree with all the sentimentality about him and things like that. But for me, no.
Bridgeman, he's just, while you were speaking to me, I checked some information out on Alex Gogic. He's 31 years of age. He's into his last 18 months of his contract next month. And this season, I know you're talking about discipline-wise, if he was to play for Rangers, but for this season with St Mirren, he's got 5 yellow cards and 1 red card. I think I kind of see AK's point, and I agree with it, that he's a commanding, experienced player that knows this league, and he will dominate the ball in the air. He will go through tackles. He'll not shy out anything. And I think if we're talking about experience or leadership at the back, he would tick a lot of the boxes, if I'm honest. AK, do you want to come back in, mate?
I'm not going to argue with you about it. I mean, I know AK has been talking about Gogic for quite a wee while. I've spoken about it myself. I thought maybe a couple of seasons ago we should have went and got him, and we would have got him for buttons. But he's a very, very experienced professional now. As you say, he's 31 years of age, probably 32 in a month or so. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think we should be investing in someone like that. It's only my opinion. But I think his best days have passed him. And we talked about this, when you get players who their legs can't keep up with their head, they just can't do it. And the more you do that when you're a bit older, the more fouls you give, the more bad tackles you get in, and so on and so forth. That happens because it's something natural. So I wouldn't touch him anyway. But
AK, do you want to come back in there before I go to Davey? He's 31. Do you need legs or centre half? Davey Weir was 41.
Aye, listen, if you're intelligent, you don't need the legs. Davy Weir let Danny Wilson days running for him. Richard Goff was intelligent as well. But listen, Bridges got his opinion. Respect that, obviously. I actually thought he was older than that, to be honest with you. I was surprised when you said he was 31, but he knows the league. He ticks a lot of boxes for me. He's been robust enough to. I don't know how many games he's played between Hamilton, Hibs, St Mirren, but I would imagine you're over 300 or 400. So he's basically an ever-present in all the teams that he's played at. I just think he would be a reasonably cheap acquisition. He wouldn't command much of a wage, whatever he's on at St Mirren, I've no idea. But going back to his disciplinary as well, Diamondi's been sent off more for us than what Gogic has for St Mirren. So it's just a name. I'm just trying to think out loud, just to try and cure or alleviate our problems in defence, and I think the guy's just staring us right in the face. That's all. But again, it's an opinion.
Davey, when you come, mate, your thoughts on that one?
Aye, well, I know, I can understand how we're doing this Gogic scenario, but at this moment in time, he sounds a good bit compared to what we've got. But if we had a decent half-back line, good centre-half, his name wouldn't even be mentioned. He wouldn't even be talked about. But that's where we are at the moment. When we look at what we've got and what we could get elsewhere. But what you can get elsewhere is not going to be the answer all the time. And I've been watching Gogic, and he does a great job for St Mirren. He's been injured there a few times, but I don't think us going forward, at this moment, the way we are set up, probably he could come in and do a job. But that's just bringing somebody onto the paycheck, and that's not what we're looking for. So we've got to look a bit further afield, guys, and take it for there. I know you're coming with Gogic, but I don't think at this moment he's gonna sort our problems at the moment.
I think, David, you're kind of right. He won't solve all the problems, but given his age, I don't think there would be any issues giving him a 2-year contract. Maybe an option of a third with his age. Again, for me, it ticks a lot of boxes. 240 games he's had in Scotland, so he certainly knows this kind of league, the structure, and he is commanding. I think when the position we're in at the minute defensively, you can look across other teams and see how good defenders are playing. You look at Hearts, there's Craig Halkett, who was on our books years ago, a stalwart for their defence just now. Next to him, Stuart Finlay, previously at Kilmarnock, on loan from Oxford. You could pinpoint a few players within our league. I know it's not everybody's idea of players out there that we should shop at in the market, but if they are staring you in the face, does it become again naive to think there's better players out there when really these ones in the league are tried and tested?
Yeah, see, just to get just sort of distract from what we're talking about here. Has there been any word about any Rangers players that look likely to come back? Because a lot of them could fill up the gaps that we need to get sorted out at the moment.
Nothing been mentioned yet. Obviously, we've seen Miovski come off last night. Hope that's a precaution. I think we'll obviously find out more when they have the press conference ahead of the game on Monday night and see. But I think Suter Cornelius was certainly towards the end of December. Cornelius was at Ibrox in a boot and crutches previously. I think we've been joined by your Bob Gier. Evening, Bob Gier.
Good evening, lad. Good evening, lads. How are we?
Hi, Bob Gier.
Very well, mate.
Aye, Bridge. All right. Yeah, for goodness sake, I'm no over despondent about last night. I thought Rangers played really well in the first half. I did. I thought Raskin had his best game in weeks. But obviously there's two halves to a game. Down we went. But I don't think we were progressing any further anyway, boys. It's still been a good campaign. But I can see signs of things getting a wee bit better. So that's it behind us. And only more important business on Monday in this league against the Hibs at Ibrox. So we'll see how we go for there. Two bad goals to lose last night, right enough.
You're right, Bob.
Problem lies there in for a while. Sorry?
No, you're right, mate. Again, it's the defensive frailties that have cost us in Europe. But as you say, the main focus now turns to the league. It always has been the main bread and butter, as we know. We like the European football because of the finances it brings, of course, the revenue and things. But the league form is the biggest important now.
We can't keep the coefficient going forever. God knows we've done it for a good few years. We can't keep it going forever. Did any of you notice that a part of the game last night there was a great big gap again on the right hand side? And I'm not picking on the man. Only it's where Taverner should have been. And the same thing happened out in Norway, and we lost a goal for it. But a good job was an excellent tackle with Giga, who I thought had a good game last night. And we've got problems, all right. I've got problems, but Mr. Roll will need to sort out in January. Or after January, whatever he's able to sort them out. But no, I wasn't too despondent last night. There is improvement in the team, and let's hope we can improve. Keep it going to the new year. Keep running it after the new year, and then we can take it from there. See how we go on in this league, because that's no beyond us yet. No,
you're right. You're right, Bob. You're right.
Optimism shines.
Well, speaking of optimism, you'll be glad to hear we're going to hear Southside's Super 6 for this weekend.
Oh, brilliant.
This week's Super 6 for Southside. Right, get your pens and papers ready. Right, first team is Swindon. These are all to win. So Swindon, Coventry, Bradford, Cardiff, Walsall and Inverness. That's Swindon, Coventry, Bradford, Cardiff, Walsall, Inverness. And for your £10, 2091. Let's hope you get 300 back this week. Good luck, big man.
Good luck. Alex, can I say something?
No.
And you go, David.
You go back into your corner, Bridge. No, I'm just going to say that Super 6 is very difficult trying to write it down a bit of lavy paper.
Oh, it usually ends up in the lavy.
No, they are pens two-sided, isn't it? Must have sense of humour. My apologies.
Another one that's calling Nish.
Well, gents, we've obviously, as Bob rightly said, we've got a game coming up on Monday night at Ibrox against Hibernian. A massive, massive game. Again, the full focus turns to the league, and on Monday night we can close the gap on them across the city, because they're obviously playing on the Sunday in a different competition. And let's hope it's Alex Goggins that's going to win her. But anyway, for us, Monday night, big game, Bridge, man.
Yeah, huge game. Now, always a difficult place for Rangers. Nearly always, I'll put it that way. They always give us a tough game. The last time we've played them, a couple of times we've seen them, they've actually done no bad against the Hibs. But we're not getting a chance to build the momentum. In the league, we are doing it, but overall, we're not getting the momentum built. These defeats in Europe they actually drain them, you know. So let's hope we can spark back up again. And Monday night's a different game against a different opposition. We're back at Ibrox again, so let's see what we can do there. Looking forward to them. I always look forward to playing against them. My best pal was a big High B fan, and we had some smashing nights, shouting and bawling at each other, you know. So no, seriously, I think it was it will be a tough game. I do hope in my heart, as every Rangers fan hopes, we're going to beat them. We're going to put on a show and we're going to beat them. I'm going for a 1-0. Nevertheless, I'm going for a 1-0.
I can't say I'm not surprised, mate. Davey, as Buzz says, it will be a tough fixture. Physical, we know what Hibs will bring to Ibrox. They'll certainly fancy their chances against us, trying to lick the wins of a European performance and result that we're on the tail end of. But we can go with the league form that we've got under Danny Rule. 5 wins and 2 draws, and that is some momentum in there. And obviously the last time we played them was a 1-0 victory and a clean sheet. So you've got to take the positives of the league form. And if you take the chances created from Dundee United game to the clinical finishing against Kilmarnock, it's a simple game.
Yeah, well, for over 65 years that I've supported the Gers, I've always been very, very confident when Rangers are playing at Ibrox. But I must say, the last season, more so this season, I do not have that confidence anymore, because you don't know who's going to turn up. That's what I think is the biggest worry for all supporters, because you just don't know who's going to be a bomb scare or who's no. But hopefully, with the backing of the crowd and the Union Bears, the atmosphere, they'll come out and win that game, because it's not about performance, it's getting the points. The points are the main thing. But we'll take it as it comes and we'll deal with it.
AK, and you come, mate?
It's an opportunity to close the gap again, to get 3 points on the board, but I think we'll expect a difficult game. Hibs are a funny team. You know, they can raise their game against the kind of stronger opponents. They gave Celtic a kind of hard game there a couple of weeks ago as well, and obviously we just beat them 1-0 at Easter Road there a few weeks ago, but we played them earlier in the season there at Ibrox in the League Cup, and we managed to beat them, if I can remember right. I think it was 2-0 that night. But they caused us bother up front with Boyle, the pace of Boyle. You've got Kieran Bowie, scored 6 goals. Jamie McGrath has scored 5 goals for them, you know. They set up 3-5-2, so they're very on the front foot. So they will cause problems. But our home record, touching on what Davey said there, we've played 7 games in the league at home this year. We've only managed to win 2. Naturally, we've only lost 1 there at home, but we've had 4 draws, which is killing us. You know, so we really need to start winning at Ibrox to gain points. So, aye, 26 points. Rangers are only now in fourth. So if we win and capitalise on them having a rest weekend, you could be right on their tails, and depending on the Hearts score, you never know where it takes us. But we're running into games with Hibs at home, Hearts away, Motherwell at home just after Christmas, St Mirren at home, and then it's Celtic away, Aberdeen home and Aberdeen away. So it's a tough run of fixtures we've got coming up, mate. Every game is a must win if we've got any chance in this league.
Aye, as you said, mate, it's a testing period for the players. A big period for Danny Rule as well. He'll certainly, I think he'll understand and know a lot more about the players after this period as well. I know he'll have a good idea already, but I think, as I said last night, December's always a crucial period. The fixture pile up, we know what it's like in the games. It's a chance, as you say, to capitalise on them not playing in the league, and Hearts with a tricky away fixture to Falkirk on the Saturday night, and then you play them the following week. So, Bob J, there is an opportunity there that we need to capitalise on and make it about us and not worry about anybody else.
Absolutely. What we're talking about here is consistency. Some I've not had for a while. Well, we've done okay lately in the league, but the two draws for a 1-day 2 draws, obviously, it could have made it a bit better. But aye, we've got a run of fixtures coming up. And I think there's, what did you say, there was 4 of them at home there. We're at home on Monday against the Hibs. Then what's the next fixture after that?
Tynecastle, Hearts away,
Motherwell home. Yeah. That's a big game. You want to win that. Then Motherwell at home. St Mirren at home, aye.
Motherwell at home, St Mirren at home, Bob Jer, and then it's travel to Celtic Park before we have a double header with Aberdeen.
Well, that's winnable. But they're all winnable. Of course, Charlie, just believe it. Everybody playing, everybody fit. Of course, they're winnable. We're not out of this league race yet. No way a long shot. We were at one point, but no, we've clawed our way back into it. Just keep on going. There's half a season to go yet, boys. Half a season to go yet. So, yeah, I'm on the night and I'm in an optimistic mood. Because I dearly want to win that league again. It's been too long for we did. So, I can give you it's just a shame the way things have turned out this year. But you know what, we spoke about that many times. We fell well in his sidekick. But I believe Rangers are on their way back under Danny Rule, and you've got the transfer window in January, and we'll see how it all pans out. Rangers will always be a threat in this league. It doesn't matter what state they're in. They'll always be a threat. So, let's start for it on Monday night, because what they'll do is they'll pump the ball along at Boyle and Bowie. It's the same as they always do. And they'll all be over defensive, Hibs. That's one thing I'll give them a compliment for. A lot of these teams come to Ibrox and you're up against 10 keepers. I think Hibs will come out a wee bit and try and play. Same as always there. But I do believe the Gers will overcome them. So hey-ho, roll on Monday. Start a vital period for the Gers.
Rob, can I ask a question for the guys that's on and anybody that wants to phone in? Well, I think we've got a wee quandary in the middle of defence now, pal. See, after I know we've had to rely on Giga and Fernandez up to now, but is it time for Sterling and Inciala to get involvement in the game? I don't know if he's going to start them, but it's just what do you think yourselves? Throw it out to the panel.
I would have had Inciala in all day. Sorry, I didn't butt in there, did I? No. I would have had Inciala in there all day. And if Sterling's fit, yeah, he's in there all day. I really like Sterling. And I like Inciala. He's a very good football player. Very good footballer. Very good left foot, that laddie. The last time we seen him was in Bilbao. And he stuck out like a sore thumb when he came on tonight. He's a good player, that laddie. I'm surprised they haven't stuck him in there at left back because he's far and above what we've got at left back. And I didn't mean to be insulting. I'm just stating a fact. Inciala's a really good footballer. I would have him there. I'm surprised he's not made an appearance before now. And if I can move on to Gassaman. If Villarreal can see anything in him.
Bob J, hold on, let the rest of the panel answer that wee point, and then you can come back to
sorry. can't much I was enjoying myself when I come on. Sorry, lad.
No, you're fine, Bubs. Davey, on you go, mate. AK's question about Sterling and Enciala.
What was it? I forgot.
AK, repeat your question.
I'm doing a bridge, man.
It's
That's
just
my
with
fault,
the.
Davey. I'm sorry, mate.
No, don't worry about it, Bob. Listen, just with the poor performances, well, Giga was all right last night, but Fernandez, question marks. Could we bring in Inciala in that position, or even start Sterling in there, or look to move him in there? Is it time now to start juggling it about a wee bit?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Okay, no bother. I would go. He's got to change something because they're a bomb. But they're a bomb scare the way we're playing them now. I mean, for the back four to the two wee tall backs, the two big centre halves, and the small midfield, that's going to get changed around about. But as what Bob Chair was saying, I agree with him on a point that we're still in a good show. Mathematically, yeah, we can. But performances-wise, it's a big ask. So it's just take every game as it comes and get the points in the bag, and then we'll see where we are at the end of the day.
The centre-back expert, Bridgeman.
You see this Enciala guy, I'd have him in my team all the time, but I would have him at left back. I think he'd be a fantastic left back for us. But I know he's had injuries and things. Sorry?
Agreed.
Thank you, pal. I think I really do think he's a smashing, and he's got a great touch. I think he had a wee injury. Did he have a wee injury and he was out for a wee while? But obviously, I would have him at left back. That would make you, I think, a different team if you get somebody who is a defender playing at left back. He's not going to have a flying machine up the pitch, and we could leave that to Gazama. He could do all that. But he would be a defensive player because he's got half a centre half brain, you know. I think he'd be a smashing left back for us. I think we need a good left back. That's what we need. And if you look in midfield, if you forgive me if we're talking about these things, you look in the midfield and you can see, particularly corner kicks and free kicks. Corner kicks, I think it was said a wee bit earlier as well. You know, you get people that do Connor Barron, and he's matching up with a centre forward or a huge big midfielder, you know, and he's like, you know, he's lost a foot. He's never ever going to get off the ground. Never mind head the ball against that guy, and there's no way he's going to be able to push any of these big fellas about and nudge them here and there, nudge them there. So it's to me, it's just a waste of time. We should be looking at, shall we say, selecting and sitting in the shall we say, the training room after it, you know, and saying, look, this is who we're playing, and this is what we're going to do, and you're going to play this way and that way and that way, and you're going to mark your man there, and there. I didn't mean to say they're marking the whole game. Just corner kicks, free kicks. There's your man. You get him and don't move away from him. You know, stay with him all the way as much as you can, and it'll make it a lot better for us to measure people up against each other. Because we have got a very, very small, short-wise, height-wise midfield. So they're not offering anything unless we get it right, get the tactics right, you know. Because I don't think we hardly won a ball in our own defence against free kicks and corners. It's just no right. We should be winning most of the game, most of the ball come into our box. That's all I've got to say about that. And Ciela,
AKA, is it my turn or do you want to go first? You put me in the spot first.
No, you carry on, pal. I'm just posing the question.
Slopey shoulders.
I think
Splinters.
I would go. I'd like to see Sterling come into the side. Down the line, I'd like to see him more as a defensive midfielder, if I'm honest, AK. But given the defensive situations, then he walks into the centre half position. Whether he can do a full 90 minutes yet is a different question. But if he's fully fit and you can get him through the game, I would put him in at centre half. Monday night particularly, I'd put him in centre half alongside Giga. and it probably means having to move Giga to the left-hand side. Enciala, he's got potential, but again, I'm like Bob G, I'm surprised he's not been involved, given how much lack of depth we've got at the defence, and he's not seen minutes yet. Again, don't know how up to speed he is really, because he was frozen out under Russell Martin, but he wasn't playing games, so you'd like to think he was tuning hard still out in the background, but I just don't know how ready he really is to come back into the fold. Over time, I think he's a player with potential, but to start with Monday night, it would probably be Sterling and Giga for me at centre half. Yourself?
Well, I think Giga definitely starts. I wouldn't mind Enciala in there, to be honest with you. It depends. I think Danny Rowe and the fitness coaches is just got to be careful that we're not pushing Sterling back into full sprints and that right away, because that's the only concern. He snapped his Achilles, I think it was. So Big Suitor will tell him all about that. I think you've got to treat the players with kid gloves. I mean, you see the players that he's going to be up against, the pace of Boyle, and that it's maybe just too soon to throw him in there to start. But I certainly, what did he have last night? About half an hour. If he's getting an hour or something, or even a second half of that, I think we've got to build these minutes up gradually. But no, I was just throwing it out there. I don't think there's a right answer and a wrong answer until we get Suter and Cornelius back. But I do think he should be utilising his squad for the availability that he's got to these players.
What I will do is I'll ask you all for your starting 11 in a few moments, but we'll go to Bob G because he's got a point about Gassama first. Bob G, in you come.
Aye, I was making a point. Sorry, I overstepped myself and making a point about Gassama. I see there's a wee rumour going around that Villarreal are interested in him. Well, as far as I'm concerned, if Villarreal come in with a reasonable offer, I would take it and say, right, son, thanks very much for your 6 months. Because his attitude lately has been murder. He's not done nothing for weeks. And last night wasn't any different. With that pass, the pass that Connor Barton gave him, and he didn't make an effort to go back away for it. That's what I was screaming at him for that. Like, you didn't no try when you're playing for Rangers. Blame everybody else but yourself. So I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of Gassama. No, lately. He looked all right when he came in, but have he wants to, and to me that I don't know if he's in a word like Reeks, but if he wants to suit the boy, well, fair enough. Let him go if a Spanish club's interested him. But then again, that's maybe a load of nonsense. We'll see in the next couple of weeks what happens. But nah, I'm afraid I'd rather start the youngin there than start him. He's just not been doing it. I'd bench him. Then again, with the rest of you think on that point. I'm sure some of you will agree with me.
Aye, Bob G, I agree with you. His attitude lately has been pretty poor, and I'll be honest, I've been disappointed with him because he obviously worked under Danny Rule, and I thought he maybe get the best out of him, but he seemed to have regressed so much, so quickly from where we first seen him. He was fast, he was taking players on, he was creating chances, scoring goals, and he's just went backwards so far. But I'll take it around the board, mate, and then I'll get your starting 11 for Monday night before we start to wrap up the show. Davey first.
You want the starting 11?
No, your point first on Gassama, mate, and then we'll come back to you for your 11. Give you some thinking time.
Everything's been said about him. He started off great, he's faded into oblivion, but I've got a funny feeling he's getting played out of position. But that's all I can really say about the guy. He's not getting really much help beyond any of the other ones, is he?
Oh, certainly, that's a good point to make. AK, then Bridgeman on Gassama.
When Gassama actually touched on it earlier there, Bob Jerry, I don't know if you heard of that, but I'm in the same opinion as yourself. If Villarreal are sniffing about and we get our money back from, I don't think he'll be a miss at Ibrox. And the same goes for Ant-Man and Asgard, Rothwell. You know, very, very disappointing in all their contributions. I like to see Cameron, Lyle Cameron, Curtis, Moore, Raskin, Barron. That's the guys I want to see in the team. Guys that will work for the team, and hopefully Miovski isn't as bad as we first fear.
Bridgeman. on Gassama?
Well, I've heard the guys saying it, and there's talking in the what do you call it, social media. I'm a big fan of Gassama's, I have to say. I think when in times when he's actually knowing the game, is not getting played in the right place. And we've seen Gassama getting moved out to the right and kicked all over the park. And when if the way he plays, he's best played on the left, and he doesn't get the same injury or the same knocks, whatever, when he's playing the left. He plays with flair and a bit of freedom. And as long as people are backing them up properly, then I think you've got a winner there. I thought we've seen this we'll make a lot of money out of that guy if we do it right, you know. But if you think, you obviously you see, some people see that things differently, of course. If you think you're going to get a fair sum of money selling Gassama at Christmas time, or rather New Year, absolutely do it. Get the money, because money we're going to need. It's the only way you can think about it. It's money we're going to need, and so therefore we should do it. Aye. But for me, I would keep him. He'll make you a fortune. Build a team around these guys. When you've got good players, build a team around them. We don't seem to do that. We don't have anyone at the present moment is actually doing a really good job out in the right wing. They just aren't doing it. So whether in fact we're playing them wrongly, or the person that can't supply the ball to them, these things. But I think Agazam is a smashing player coming in for the left. Absolutely.
Right, I've gave you some thinking time, right? So give me your starting 11 on Monday night against Hibs. Bob Jair, then Davy.
Well, it's going to be the same back four. It's going to be Butland, Dav, for all the criticism he's received. Butland, Dav, Giga, Fernandez, and Aarons. And then it'll be Nico Raskan and the wee man in the middle of the park. I'd go 4-2-4 against the Hibs. I would. Aye, Barden. I'd go 4-2-4 against the Hibs. I'm not too good at team selections, boys. This old memory of mine is letting me down. But Majowski's fit. I would say he's got to start. Gassama's got to start. And you can take it one for the others. I say that memory of mine lets me down when it comes to team selections.
No worries, mate. Good effort. Davy.
Okay, batten down the hatches. Here it comes. Right?
Ready?
Richie Shearer, Caldo, Greg McKinnon, Henderson, McMillan, Miller, Brandon, Moulton.
You're showing your age now. You're showing your age.
Even now. Right now.
I'd buy them.
Even now.
But seriously, guys, Monday will take care of itself. I'm like Bob Chair. That's a jigsaw puzzle that the manager will need to sort out. So I'll pass that to AK.
AK, you're up. Selected by David.
Yeah, wee bugger you. I'll go Butland, Aarons, right back. I'm going to start Giga and Siala, Megoma, Raskin, Barron, Moore, Curtis, Cameron, and Miowski. So a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-5-1. I'm dropping Tavernier and I'm dropping Fernandez. And Gassama
as well. Gassama.
Yeah.
Bridgman.
Well, from a defence perspective, I'd play the same defence across the back four, except I would have Sterling right back. That's what I would do. But if, in midfield, I agree with her midfield. I would keep Gassama in, but so you have Gassama and Miowski up front, and I don't know who we playing in the right. Has it been Ant-Man? Has he been playing in the right, or have we got someone else?
Ant-Man's out for 8 weeks. Gassama's playing in the right.
So, sorry?
And then last night, Gassama's been on the right, and last night was.
I don't want him in the right. I want him in the left. So whoever, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know who we're going to play. Mikey Moore, put him in the right. He plays well.
Who are you putting up front?
That's who would put up front. Mickey Moore, Miowski, and Gassama.
All right, I'll go with Butland in goal.
That's about 14 players, Bridge.
Why is that? I've only mentioned the attack and defence. I've not spoken about the midfield yet.
Just don't tell the rest.
He's keeping the
I'll
door
go
shut
for
at the
that,
back.
Team Bridge. I'll go for
Go on you go, Rob, sorry.
I'll go Butland. I'm with yourself, okay. I'd go Aarons at right back. I'd go Sterling and Giga centre half. McGoman at left. Midfield 2 of Barron and Raskin. A 3 of Moore, if he's fit, Bayrami and Curtis. And Miovski if he's fit enough to start up front as well. So again, dropping Gassama and dropping Tavernier. And Lyle Cameron, I don't know if he's fit or not yet. We'll obviously get the press conference over the weekend, but we've reached that time of the evening. Time flies when you're having fun. Last word from your good self, Bob Ger.
Oh, fantastic night. Great. Great to be in the senior dementia Rangers supporters club. Especially me. Give me history, give me current affairs, anything at all. Team selections, I was never very good. I didn't hate getting put in that position. When Ox does it, I kind of struggle. So you're okay in future. Thanks a lot, lads. Brilliant to hear for as usual. I think the Gers will get 3 points on Monday night. We'll get right back in this league race. All is not lost. It's not as bad as a lot of us think. So have a good weekend, lads, and I'll see you on Monday. Hear for you on Monday.
Cheers, Bob.
Cheers, Bob Ger.
Cheers, Bob. Yeah.
Davey, last word from yourself, mate.
Aye, so it's always a great pleasure to come onto this show. You get a chance to express yourself. People will tell you you're talking all the months. People say that's a good point. So that's what it's all about. And I appreciate you taking my call. The Kecky boys do a great job. There's an old saying. This guy was an American general during the war, and he said, "We shall return." And that's what we're going to do. So keep going, boys, and no surrender. We are the people. Good night.
Was that no Rocky?
It was a chap called General MacArthur. You're too young, Ali. You're too young. Bridge will know who I'm talking
about. He was there.
General McGregor.
What was that?
MacArthur, wasn't it? MacArthur.
Correct,
MacArthur.
Bridge. Go to the top of the class.
Thank you, pal.
Bridge, did you
Is
teach
there
in
any
the class? Cheers, Davey. I appreciate your call as always, mate. Enjoy your weekend.
Will do.
Cheers, Davey.
AK.
A great show tonight, mate. Enjoyed that. Good to pass a couple of hours talking about the Rangers. Good to be in the Cocoon Rangers radio tonight with the audience. Yourself. Well done for leading and the techie team in the background. I look forward to a good weekend. Rangers not to spoil it, but let's hope we get after a good week next week. Good start to the week. So come on, the Rangers.
Cheers, mate. Always a pleasure as always. Final word, Bridgeman.
Oh, what can I say? Robert, brilliant night tonight. Really enjoyed it. Great people come in talking. Really good discussions as well. And of course, the techie boys in the background too. Absolutely wonderful. Can I say a huge shout out to all the Rangers fans that are sitting listening here all over the world. We know what's going to happen on Monday. We're getting that Hibs team here to tear them apart. I'm going for a 1-0. 1-0 for the Rangers.
Cheers, Bridgeman. Always a pleasure. AK, just while he says that, score prediction. You're not getting away with it.
2-0, just to keep Southside happy.
You can text me your real score, mate. Cheers.
Good boy.
Can I just thank, obviously, AK and Bridgeman for keeping me company on the show this evening. Bob, Ger and Davey for phoning in. Always a pleasure to hear from them. And of course, Fox and Old School Blue for doing the technicals. And for everybody out there on YouTube and Facebook listening in. This has been Rangers Radio. We'll be back on Monday It's 6:45 with a pre-match show as we look ahead to Rangers versus Hibs at Ibrox. Enjoy the rest of your Friday evening. Enjoy your weekend. Take care. Take it away. Old School Blue.